Hey, what's up everybody? It's Christian with Reaper Disc, and today we're going to be taking a look at some basics. We've been getting hit with some requests and some recommendations to start going over some of the basics of disc golf. Whether that be form, for putting, things like that. We've been getting a lot of you guys wanting to know some of the more finer, points on how to start learning the basics. Whether you're a new player or a player who is trying to relearn and break some old habits that you picked up whenever you were a beginner and brand new, relearning the basics is often a very, very good place to start when you're really wanting to improve your game. Now, we've already done backhand form, and if you haven't watched that one and you're interested in it, head over to the videos and check that one out. It's a really good video. Today, we're going to be expanding on that to start going over forehand form. Now, this is going to be basic forehand form. I'm not going to go through a ton of detail on exactly how you should forehand in different situations. This is just going to be the foundation on how to throw a forehand properly with good form, and hopefully, fix a couple little things that you might be doing wrong. That being said, like I said, I could go into hours and hours of details on every general aspect of a forehand throw. That's not going to be the main focus of this video. This is going to be the foundation building. This is just how to throw a forehand, and then you can start building on those other shots to go on top of it and build from this base. So there's a handful of very specific things that I will be talking about in the video. One is going to be grip and different grips for different throws and kind of where you should start. The second one is going to be the arm motion as you're coming through with your forehand, and third is going to be the follow through. So let's start with the grip. Alright, so the grip on a forehand is kind of funky if you're just starting or have never thrown something like this before. Basically, instead of a backhand, where you're going to be gripping it kind of like with an overhand grip, with the back of your hand facing up, it's going to be the exact opposite. The back of your hand is going to be facing down, palm is going to be up. And you're basically going to want to find a good, comfortable place for your fingers to go. Now, there are a multitude of different grips here, and I'm actually going to grab a disc that you can contrast and see between my really white hands and this lighter disc. Let's go with you. Actually, hold on. Here we go. Okay, that's better. Contrasting, not light colors, So, basically, there are a handful of different grips, and this is the bottom of the disc right here. You've got the top plate with the stamp on it. This is the bottom. Now, you're going to have your palm facing up, and the disc is going to be right side up there. Your thumb will be resting on top of the disc, and your fingers will be nestled inside the rim. Now, let's go over a couple of the different grips, starting with my preferred grip. And it's basically just kind of like a hybrid grip. And I'm going to start with my middle finger going at about a 45-degree angle on the inner rim. And I've got about half of the pad of my finger on the inside of the rim. The other half is nestled on the bottom of the flight plate. I have, like I said, it's sitting at about a 45-degree there. My pointer finger then at that point is just kind of nestled up against my middle finger. This allows me to have a good deal of control while still generating some decent power and snap on the, on the release. Forehands differ from backhands because instead of being propelled forward to get your distance and speed, they're going to be going a lot, they're going to mainly get their distance and such because of the rotational force and everything else. The spin generated from a forehand is incredibly high compared to a backhand. That's why you typically need a more overstable disc whenever you forehand. You generate more snap, more spin, more off-axis torque, so on and so forth. All those details are for a different video. So I've got the grip there, and my thumb at this point, and I'm kind of glad I chose the clear disc at this, is going to kind of rest just above, just onto the flight plate from the rim, and kind of like that. Just below the pads of my fingers is about where it equals out to. And that's going to allow me to, you know, kind of control the angle. If I need more hyzer angle, I'm going to pull my thumb back toward the rim just a little bit and allow that disc to kind of drop. If I need more anhyzer angle, I'm going to put it a little closer to my forefinger, my first finger. That way it pulls the outside edge of the disc up, going to be releasing it on ante. If I want more hyzer, I'm going to pull it back here and allow that other edge of the disc to dip into a more hyzer shot. And then if I'm wanting it flat, I'm nestling it right on the edge of the rim itself, on top of the plate. Now, you can do a lot with different angles. Again, there's just too many details to go into in one video for that. So if you're wanting all the different angle manipulation for forehands and such, drop us a comment and let me know. I'd be more than happy to post that up and get that made if that's what you guys want to see. So that is my preferred grip for a forehand, and about the grip that I say everyone should probably start off with. Now you have different grips to vary off from there. You have a very controlled grip, which is, you know, a good split grip. You've got the forefinger way up on the flight plate, and that's going to allow you to have a lot of touch. You have a traditional power grip where your pointer finger is going to be brought in, and then your middle finger is going to be extended out, giving you kind of that backwards P shape. And both of your fingers at that point are going to be on the inner rim instead of on the flight plate. It's going to allow you to get a ton of power there. And then a lot of professionals like a stack grip. And that's where you have your pointer finger down, and then your middle finger is resting right on top of your pointer finger. And the tip of your middle finger is actually on the inside of the flight plate, or on the inside of the rim, sorry, excuse me, while the pad of your finger on your middle finger is actually sitting on top of your forefinger's fingernail. It's really difficult to explain. Basically, it just looks like that. Your fingers are stacked on top of each other. And it's all just personal preference. I like this grip, and it's the grip that I use for both power and control forehands, just because I'm very, very comfortable with it. Now, let's get into the throw motion itself. I'm not going to really get into footwork because everyone's got different footwork for forehands. Some people have, you know, as has been made famous, the Sexton hop, where you, let me step back a little bit, where you'll have like as you're running up, instead of doing like an X step or stutter step, you actually just kind of pick that front foot up and hop and then plant. Nate Sexton does that a lot. That's him. I personally have a stutter or like a skip step where I will, and I'll have to take a step back again, where I will start kind of with my feet shoulder width apart, and then I shuffle my back leg up to get even. I'll do it this way. I shuffle my back foot up to get even while I'm bringing my lead leg up and then down the plant. So it kind of looks like this. Kind of slowed down and exaggerated. Again, the Sexton hop is like, and then down. He does it weird. I can't do it. It's very odd. Some people like to bring their back foot around and behind on the follow through, kind of like bowling does. The footwork itself is very, very dependent on your personal preference. So I'm not going to get into that. However, what I will get into is the throw motion itself. So whenever I'm teaching new players how to forehand, my biggest tip is keep your palm to the sky. That way you don't burn your disc over. Start with a neutral to slightly overstable disc, keep your palm up, and just work on that motion. And let me grab a couple discs. You can do this with putters. I'm going to be using like JK AVRs here. And once you get your grip down, and I'm just going to be kind of shooting off into this, but this is just that way you can see my arm motion. I'm not really aiming at anything in particular. I'm not looking at power, and I'm not, you know, trying to hit any specific angle. This is just working on the arm motion. And a lot of times this is what I do to start warming up, get the arm loose, the elbow loose, things like that. And just focus on keeping the palm up, and imagine that you're a shortstop grabbing a ball and then just whipping it back over to first. It's that sidearm motion that we're after. Do that and keep the palm to the sky, and just work on it with some putters. As long as you keep the palm up, the disc should remain about level. I'll try to put this one actually that way you can see it from this angle. All right, and that's about how you want to get started, especially if you're just learning forehands. Just that little motion, work on keeping the palm up and just keeping the disc level. A little bit of nose up probably won't hurt here either. All right, now that you've got the basic throw motion down, now we need to start looking at adding a little bit of power and the actual forward motion of the arm itself. So one big thing that you want to avoid is rolling your wrist over. At no point really should your palm be down and the top of your hand be pointed up to the sky. If it's like that, unless you're aiming on doing a flex shot or a forehand roller, that's going to unintentionally be burning a disc over, realistically. At most, you want your hand to end up thumb up. And that is a little more of an advanced technique of how you can get a lot of wrist hinge and snap on a disc, really get some power and drive behind a good hard forehand, but it takes a lot of practice to be able to control the angles a lot more. Starting just from the beginning, keeping that palm up a little more, we'll start working on the timing and getting the throw motion actually through the arm. So one thing in particular, unless again you're trying to get around something or you're intentionally doing this to manipulate the flight of the disc, you don't want your elbow very far away from your arm. Kind of keep it tucked in, not necessarily planted like on your hip, but just keep it a little close. You also don't want to be delivering way over the top or from the ground, unless again that's your intention to try to manipulate something about the flight. Try to keep it somewhere in about your main body mass, between your shoulder and about your belly button height. Just try to keep it in there. So again, we're going to be shooting this way. Actually, I'll shoot this way first and then I'll throw one that way. So get your grip down, and as you're going with your run up, or even if it's just a single step, you want to lean back just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. Start there. The reach back is only going to be about to right here, and start moving forward with the arm. Get a little bit of body rotation and shoulder rotation to open up toward your target, and then release forward. So standing up into it, just here, just like that. Then we'll do it again here. Okay. I don't have very far to throw that way, so I can't throw it hard because I don't want to lose those. But now we'll go this way, and then you can actually see from this angle as I get a little more power behind. And I'll do one more. Okay, both of those were very low power still. I'm not focused on throwing those very hard, just to show you guys the form. Now, the actual follow through itself is going to be, I'll do it facing you here, that way you can see it. So as you come forward with your throw, you're just going to want to extend your arm straight out. Now, a big benefit of throwing the forehand, obviously, is being able to look at your target the entire time. You never have to turn away from your target to throw a forehand like you do a backhand. You're never turning away, so you can always see it. Generally, you can be a little more accurate because of that. Now, it's very important to figure out your target line, not necessarily where you want the disc to end, but this is where you want the disc to start, and the line initially. Get that line down, and end with your hand and your follow through on that target line. So again, I'm going to try to make my target line probably one of those soccer goals way out there, or somewhere in that general area. And I'm just going to bring this forward and let my arm finish in line with those. I'll probably slow this down in post and dub over it. That way I can explain it a little better. Alright, so we're mainly, again, taking a look at just keeping this disc on the same line the whole way through, all the way through release. Now from the reach back, right about there, and straight forward, that disc is staying on one singular plane, and that's going to be your aim point. Again, this is going to be different from where you want the disc to finish. That's going to just be knowing your disc and how much they fade. But starting them on the right line is crucial. Alright everyone, so those are the main points of the forehand throw. Focus on those and then start working up to get more power as you go on. This is very, very imperative because you can't come out of the gate ripping 300-foot forehands and just expect it to happen. You're going to start with little 50-foot chip shots first. Work on those chip shots to get the form down, and then start adding a little more power. That way you can start learning as you go. Time and practice are very, very important while learning a proper forehand. And the only thing you're going to get by rushing it is frustration and not being able to hit your lines like you want. It's going to take time, it's going to take practice. Devote that time and practice in, and you're going to have a killer forehand before you know it. Before I wrap this all the way up, I do want to give one very, very important tip. Listen to your body on this. Forehand is one of the most unnatural ways to throw a disc, aside from some overhand stuff, and it can really take a damage and take a toll on your body if you're not paying attention and developing really bad habits. Tennis and golfer's elbow is one of the biggest issues that disc golfers have, and it's the cause of a lot of pain and eventually a shortening of like a playing career, or at least the ability to throw forehands in that career. I know me personally, I've dealt with this a lot, and it's caused me a lot of pain and, a lot of time rehabbing injuries constantly over and over, just because it's something that I've been plagued with. If your body is hurting and your arm, especially down in your elbow, is starting to hurt, stop. Do not continue push past that. Ice it down, make sure you're stretched out beforehand, and if need be, consult your doctor, because you may end up needing some sort of like physical therapy for it to help relieve an underlying issue. Continuing to throw power forehands when your body is telling you to stop is a very, very quick way how to really, really incur some big nasty injuries that might sideline you for a week, a month, maybe a year, maybe longer. I've seen players not be able to play at all because they didn't listen to their body when it was trying to tell them that something was wrong. Listen to your body, take care of your body, and it will take care of you. So that is kind of like the main tips and stuff on how to throw the forehand. If you guys want a little more in-depth stuff, or kind of that next level up as far as how to start adding things to your forehand throw, drop me a comment and let me know. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, that way you guys know when we're dropping new content. Follow us on social media at Reaper Disc, that way you can keep up to date with all of our news updates, as well as product restocks and new drops, things like that. Again, I'm Christian with Reaper Discs, and we'll see you guys in the next video.